thieving and everything. The whole 9 yards, dope dealing, everything. Everything you hear on our records is true.
Yeah, we figure you can't rap about nothing you don't know nothing about.
All these news companies down there interviewing NWA. And NWA on TV saying the right thing. They saying, oh, well, we just trying to talk about what really goes on. We're just trying to give people the truth about the black neighborhood. It's not gangster rap. It's not promoting drugs, not promoting violence, which it was, of course, to keep it real. But it's just we trying to get our voice out. We're trying to be heard. And what happens? You get black people saying, yeah, let the niggas be heard. They trying to stop something that we doing. See, they understand us. They got us figured out. They knew what would stimulate us, what would get us to rally behind gangster rap. And that's what it was. You had a bunch of people telling us that we can't do something as black people. So you have black people listening to this music. First of all, as I just told you, it bypasses all of the defenses of your brain. So automatically when you hear this music and you get this stimulation and then the beat is bumping and it sounds good, automatically you're going to like it. But when you examine the content, you can't in a conscious mind say that it's good. But that's what's happening, and we're not understanding that in our conscious state, we're not seeing, what it is. You have to be strong and have some kind of control over your brain to really analyze this, these lyrics, this content, and say, hey, something is wrong with this, and it shouldn't be played, and we should have said that from the jump. But they got us suckered into the whole black versus white thing, as they knew that would happen. And Jerry Heller was smart in doing it like this. They even came out and said, I think it was the president or the CEO of Priority Records came out and said himself, the whole thing was a publicity stunt. He said it. I think in the documentary that Chris Rock narrated, he says it in there. He said there's a publicity stunt to basically bring hip hop in. And that's what it was. You wasn't going to get us to accept it. But telling us we can't have something make us want it even more, and that's what it was. That's an old trick. Tell somebody they can't have something, and then we automatically want it, and that's what happened. So you remember that, that was like 1988 when it came out. 1989, MTV finally plays NWA, and we see him in Yo MTV Raps, and they put out Express Yourself, and that's another video, another song that's deceptive. That gets you to think that, okay, well, they're just expressing themselves. What's wrong with expressing yourself? First Amendment rights.
Some rap artists call this an infringement on their right to free speech. Critics say the artists have a right to say whatever they want, but others also have the right not to hear it.
Instead of continuously exposing our youth to negative media that distorts their images of male-female relationships, that undermines the stability of our families, communities, and nation by encouraging violence, abuse, and sexism as acceptable behaviors, and perpetuates the cycle of low self-esteem of African American youth. Thus, images that degrade our dignity and are an insult to our children, our families, and communities concern us too. And that includes all this gangster rap and misogynist lyrics.
Damn, rap music, I hate that. It's just so violent. It destroys everybody. It makes the kids crazy. The kids kill people. They're cop haters. They're going against society. I don't understand the music. It's too loud. It's too rowdy. It's too violent. Let's ban all rap music. Ban Tupac. Ban the Outlaw Immortals. Ban them. Ban them.
Getting black people to accept this music that's destroying us, this gangster music. It's a weapon that's destroying the black community, and they was really, really brilliant at implementing their plan, and we had no clue what they was trying to do, and we just went with the flow. It's giving us music not to stimulate us, but to basically dumb us down, and to basically, keep our minds off of things that actually matter. Let's keep it real. Now, a lot of people enjoy, gangster rap, or, whatever you want to call it. And personally, when you upset, when you mad about something and you put on that right hip hop track, for some people, it calms you down. But for, most people, it fuels that anger. Like if you get upset and you put on that right record, you put on like Tupac, Hellraiser, that joint it's going to make you even madder. It's going to fuel that anger. It might cause you to do something that, you don't want to do. And, that's the purpose of this music, to fuel angry black people, to add on to the violence in the black community. You can't 1 minute promote peace, and treat women good, and then the next minute promote violence and treat women like shit and talk about women, in a derogatory manner. So this is the trickery of hip hop and the industry, how they can play off, things. They can deceive you and make you think an artist is okay and cool, but on the next minute, you find that, they contradict themselves. This is one of the issues that a lot of people have with artists like Tupac. He put out a song called, Keep Your Head Up, talking to the women, but then he put out another song that's, denigrating the women. This is the industry, this is how they play, but really it's to trick you and to fool you into thinking that these artists are just, it's just music. There's nothing to it, it's just music.
I'm expressing with my full capabilities, and now I'm living in correctional facilities.
Now, if you remember the video Express Yourself, how they showed the slave master on the horse on the plantation, basically harassing the slaves, and then it shows, that time when cops are on police horses harassing black people in the black community. So it was kind of trying to show this whole comparison between slavery and today and how nothing has changed. And that again was fueling people even more to say, you know what, this hip hop is real, it's telling the truth, it's telling our story. And they got people, for the first time on a huge scale, because now you had this song on MTV. And we thought that we was actually, using this music as a weapon to tell our story, not realizing that, wait a minute, the platform in which we are using, we don't own, they own. So how can we be trying to tell the white man about their problems or what they're doing to us, and we're using their platform, we're using their tools, we're using their stuff to put out our message, not thinking that this could possibly be a trap. And a lot of people didn't realize that. A lot of people fell into the whole perception. So when you listen to NWA, you listen to the music from that time, it's almost like, NWA foreshadowed, like they predicted the LA riots, like they predicted, they were saying that, this stuff happens, police brutality, and they beat people, and this and that, this is what goes on, and then Rodney King gets beat.
Police want to get violent with us, we'll get violent with them, because I'm ready to die.
In Normandy, right about 4 o'clock this afternoon. This started out as a report of 2 just left and found this.
Looting and violence were widespread, and that is officers from their cars and beaten near the intersection of Florence and Normandy. At one point, 2 cars collided, trying to race through that.
A lot of people can't fathom that maybe the Rodney King beating was a setup, that the whole thing was planned. A lot of people can't fathom that until you really go back and you start to examine the whole thing. When you look at the story, it's weird that his name is Rodney King, last name King, something that black people can relate to, that last name, thinking about Dr. King, Dr. Martin Luther King. And it's something that black people could just, it'll stimulate something in us to say, wait a minute, what's going on? They beating up a black man named King, and we tired of police brutality. And then black people can say, see, we told you, the music was talking about it. We told y'all this is how it is, and then a riot started. You can see that it's like they knew. It's like they prepared for it. They knew this was going to happen. They knew it was going to be some kind of riots. And it's something that this news anchor pointed out on the news.
They obviously have thought about this. They anticipated this, they meaning the LAPD. They obviously have plans to deal with it. And as we said before, they've allocated $1 million to overtime in case things like this happen. So they are obviously carrying out a thought out plan.
Hip-hop is a weapon that has been deployed against us years ago. It has destroyed the black community, and it has made us think that we are something that we are not. We are not this culture. It's not our culture. It's not something you should be proud of. It's something that you should be trying to escape from.
Is there any Dr. Dre beat or any Daz Dillinger beat that gets confused for a Dr. Dre beat a lot?
I did Ain't No Fun. I did a slew of songs, Rat-a-tat-tat. I mean, a bunch of songs I probably just got
programmed drum, programmer, and stuff like that on there. Yeah, it was, you know, it was a clobbering game back then. Mike, take.
I was like, he's like, I heard you real nice on the pianos. I played piano for him, and he said, you're not going nowhere.
Who made the track for Gin and Juice?
My homeboy Emmanuel, Dyno. You know what I mean? He played all the keyboards and all the melodies, and, you know what I mean? And Dr. Dre, he came up with the drums, but should have gave him some credit or something.
What other song did he do?
What's my name? All that all that shit, you know what I mean? All that keyboard shit, that's Emmanuel. He was young, we was young, you know what I mean? And
so one thing I always see about you is you always give Dr. Dre his props. Like, no matter what, I'm talking about the height of, you know. Ain't
nobody better than Dr. Dre, man.
And that's what you think? You think that's
man,
I can look in your face and can tell you mean that. Like I can tell.
But on a producer level, what is it exactly?
Don't even. People be trying to be. I be like, Doc, don't you do it? That's like you can't put.
Like you battle switch.
Would you battle Obi-Wan Kenobi?
But there's different levels of why Dre is dope.
No, I'm still trying to. I just know he's just super dope. And certain things I still be studying.
Like, for that,
I be trying to be like, I be like, damn, how you get that kick to sound like that? You know what I'm saying? Like.
I started this gangster shit. Fucking thanks I get. I started this gangster shit. But nothing compares to this blue and yellow purple piss.
You want to really have some conversations about what adult Joe thinks you've brought to this game? How far do we want to take these hot takes? I think I could go to court and make a valid argument that you was the first plant. I'm not gonna do that. But talk about all you've brought to the game. You brought a lot more niggas than that. And all of them ain't nice.
Yeah. I don't know. Zans. No. I mean, yes, Lean. Yes, a lot of Lean. That.
Dolores Tucker, use a motherfucker. Instead of trying to help a nigga, you destroy your brother. Worse than the others.
Have you been disappointed that there have not been more members of the African American community, particularly leaders in the African American community, who've been willing to be on the front lines with you about rap music?
That has just, you know, that has hurt me more than all that white folks have done to me. You know, that has hurt me more because our people don't really understand the effect that this is going to have on our people. Because we're going to be gone, those of us who've been the fighters. And I'm glad you're recording this history, because all of us are going to be gone. And the kids, that's why they're recording it. All this music, that's all our kids will be hearing in 2020, 25 and 30 and 40. 2040 and 50, and they'll have to start fighting. Those who are knowledgeable now will have to start the whole civil rights movement again. Those who fail to learn the lessons of history are what? Doomed to repeat them.